they say I should start the show with something funny, a quick intro, a quip, a hook, if you will, to get you excited to watch the show. I don't have one, but you can still watch the show. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. Should I do the entire show in my radio voice? Some of you may or may not know I used to be a DJ. I've talked about this before. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast before. I've definitely talked about it on Spaces and the like. And funny story about that. I have no idea where this episode's going to go, by the way. I do have some things I want to talk about, but there is no script, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Back to the funny story. When I DJ'd, this is going back a few days ago, I interned at a top 40 radio station in southeast Idaho. And, you know how if you've worked in radio or if you've been an intern, you know the great pleasure it is to be an intern. They definitely give you all the cool things to do. I did it with a morning show, which is always fun, and they were cool. They treated me all right. I wouldn't say I got crap jobs by any means. I got to do some live, on the road type stuff with them, which was a ton of fun. But the secret with this top 40 intern thing is they gave me an intern name, and I don't even know how I got the name. But here's the funny thing. Very, very few people know that name. And I highly doubt those two morning DJs watch this show, so they're not going to squeal. And if the very few people watching this show squeal about that name, I will hunt you down. But I digress. My kids don't even know. My son-in-law knows because somebody ratted it out. You know who I'm talking to. But my kids don't even know. My wife knows because I took her when I interned, and then later, a couple years later, I actually weekend DJ. Which, again, if you know radio, the weekend DJ spot, yeah, that is not glamorous. But hey, it gave me a chance to learn how to speak on the radio. So, cheers. By the way, if you don't know, the beverage of choice is a fine Australian ginger beer that definitely is not a sponsor of the show. In fact, I doubt that they would support this content. Brought to you by Ginger Beer. All right, couple things I wanted to share. First of all, I want to share maybe I should. I've been watching these videos. The ADD's going crazy. I've been watching a lot of videos about how to make my content better hooks, more engaging, get people excited to watch, right? And so far, I have done none of those things that they suggest. Oh, I don't know, like having a solid hook. Yeah, that's important. And switching the engagement pattern every 30 to 90 seconds, I think it was. Maybe it's less than that. Obviously, I've been listening really well. Not very good at that. And the other thing is waiting to tell, the big story for later on to keep people excited to watch. Or the ever so popular, you really need to have a script when you start a show, which for the most part I do. This episode I don't, but I do have some talking points I want to hit on. Somewhat of a structure. It's going to kind of bounce around in a few places, but hey, what do you know? So maybe I'll save that life-changing or life-threatening experience till the end to keep you involved in the whole episode to actually garnish some solid views. By the way, if you like this content, go ahead and like and subscribe and share and all that other BS that I don't even know if works anymore because the tubes is the tubes. But let's get into it. I had some pretty cool experiences over the last week. By the way, I'm sorry I didn't produce the episode yesterday. Life gets in the way. Nay, that's where some of this life-changing, life-threatening event happened, which was yesterday. So, well, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll get to it. But first, there's a lot of things going on in the summertime in the community. I live in a fairly, what used to be, rural. We get a lot of transplants from other states that continue to change the beautiful landscape of my community. But the nice thing about where I live is it's been for many, many years family-oriented, community-oriented, still a pretty good, safe place to live. There's crap like there is in every city. And in fact, I've told this to a few other people, not on the show. I had an acquaintance that was on the bomb squad and on SWAT team in the closest mid-range city to me. Was my neighbor for a little while. Had some really cool conversations. Anyway, he told me once, if people really knew what was going on in said city, they would be appalled, which I think is probably a good thing. Not all of us know what's going on. He shared with me a few stories, and I've talked to some other local PD guys that have shared me some stories, and this community is not free from violent crime and rape and drugs and gang violence, all that stuff. It happens in our little community too, but in general, it's pretty safe. Get on with the story, Steve. Okay, so this past Saturday, brain's working really solid today. By the way, it is 11 o'clock when I'm recording this, p.m. on the 27th. My daughter, so there was a couple of cool events I wanted to go to over this weekend, just to experience, right? Just to have some fun. And one of them was we have a little farmer's market just down the road from us. So I decided, hey, I want to go to, well, I didn't want to go to the farmer's market. And actually what happened was just a little farther down the road was the outdoor expo. And that's what I wanted to go to. But I conned my middle daughter into coming with me by taking her to the farmer's market, which was fun. And I want to talk about some things I observed at the farmer's market, which are going to be extremely helpful for you when you go to, I think will be helpful to you anyways, when you go to events like this in your community. So just work with me here. I know this sounds kind of not 2A related, but it will be. What I observed when you go, or what you could observe, I guess, when you go to a farmer's market is obviously, wow, why are there so many stinking bugs in my house? I hate bugs. Stinking earwigs. Sorry. Where was I? These are the exciting antics you get on my show. That little bastard, where did he go? Boy, have another drink. Mazel tov. So you go to these farmers markets. Obviously, there's going to be the homemade things, trinkets, wares, whatever, a plethora of different things. And actually, it is pretty fun because you got a lot of local artisans. There's hand-painted paintings. Hand-painted. Yeah, I guess that's right. Hand-painted paintings. There's pressed flowers. There's fresh garden produce. There's a gal that I know who makes soaps and lotions, and she's actually doing really good at it, and they smell good. My daughter was excited to see those there. And just all sorts of stuff, homemade jewelry. And I know this is all it's girl stuff, Steve. Sometimes you got to do the girl things with your daughters to keep that relationship going. That's some dad advice for you right there. There was also some dude stuff at this farmer's market, which I am extremely grateful for because I like dude stuff. We have a local holster manufacturer that was there who is actually killing it with his holsters. They're pretty dang nice holsters, honestly. Kydex stuff. And then he's got some cool stuff that he's worked on. Zyn pouch holders or tobacco holders. Or I don't chew, so I don't know. Some cool inside the waistband type stuff that dudes dig, right? It was cool, and they're quality, and he's a cool guy. So I talked with him for quite a while. I'm going to have him as a guest on the show at some point. That should be fun. We also, I should have talked right next to him. There was a guy making like fanny packs and backpacks and stuff. They look kind of tactical. I should have talked to him. Maybe next time if I go this weekend again, I'll chat with him. I probably should. He's seen me twice so far, just bypass his booth. He kind of looked like a puppy at the dog pound, in the arms of the angel. You know what I mean? Like, just stop, pick me, type of guy. Anyway, I should probably talk to him and figure out what he's got, and maybe get a sample or buy us a bag or something and highlight it on the show too, because that's what it's all about. But next to that guy, the bag guy, there's a knife manufacturer that I found out is literally just down the road from me. Tops Knives is also really close, and I had an awesome chat with those guys at the Outdoor Expo. But this other knife company is just a few minutes away from me. And actually, I talked to them I've been to this farmer's market 2 weeks in a row. I did talk to that guy last week, but which was a good conversation, really good conversation. Some nice homemade handmade knives, which I think might not be quite handmade, but they're definitely doing all the scales and everything. They're super sharp, and they have a lifetime sharpness guarantee, which is cool. If they go dull, you just send them back. They sharpen them. The knives were actually quality. I'm not going to try and disparage saying, hey, they're junk, but I doubt they're hand forged on an anvil, that kind of thing. They're a lot like Tops Knives or any of these other manufacturers that are cutting CNC cutting blanks, hardening them, sharpening, that kind of thing, which is still cool because they're quality. I'm not saying they're junk. And honestly, expensive, but not way outside what I have expected for something like that. Not terribly overpriced. They're not cheap. They're not like a $25 knife. I think their smallest knife was $75, and it goes up to, I think, $225, which honestly, in the knife world, isn't outrageous. It's pretty average for a quality blade, which I do think these are. Anyway, so we walking up and down this farmer's market. My daughter's having fun, right? This is really what it's about, is hanging out with my daughter, creating some good memories and having a good time. So something I noticed, well, actually, let's go to the real reason why I went to town there, and that was to go to the Outdoor Expo. So Outdoor Expo is the first time they did it in this community in Idaho Falls. So it wasn't a huge event, and I knew it wasn't going to be this massive event anyways, because it was the first year they do it. And I've done a few expos like this. I used to make some poker tables and some dartboards, some man cave stuff. Hit me up if you want a poker table. I got a couple left. You pay for shipping. I'm not delivering it. Man, I got to stop sidetracking myself. So we go to this event, and Tops Knives is there, which is cool. A new suppressor company, which is not very far from me either. Super cool. And I had a chance to really talk with these local, again, Idaho 2A companies, and a really cool company out of Salt Lake, which I'm excited. They will be on the show. I just got to make it happen. I'm excited to talk to this pretty young kid that started a pretty awesome company, or that's running an awesome company. That's as far as that one goes for now. But what I've noticed, whenever you go to events like this, now, obviously, the Outdoor Expo, there's an expectation. I mean, I live in Idaho. There's an expectation that probably the majority of men and women going to that event are going to be concealed carrying. So I would say that's a fairly safe bet that an incident would be less likely to happen. Impossible? Absolutely not. You never know when crazy people are going to do crazy things. But the farmer's market, this is where I really want to talk about something to you guys a little bit more in depth and far more important than what we realize. I caught myself more than once dropping out of, living in or yellow, right? We should stay in yellow. Look at Cooper's color codes. I found myself once in a while dropping into the white, not paying attention to what's going on around me. And that is kind of a natural thing, like being completely oblivious to the rest of the world. Should we, as protectors, right? We shouldn't ever live in that zone, even at home. We should be always paying attention to what's going on. Odd noises, odd smells, odd sounds, strange visuals, whatever. Noises and sounds are the same thing, but see if you caught that. The farmers market did have a local security company with a presence. Let's put it that way. Now, another reason why that's probably a safe area where it is the sheriff's office is right on the same street. So chances are something happening there is low. Higher than I think than it would have been at the Outdoor Expo event. But at least there's a security presence. Now, last week when I was there, I'm not going to say I wasn't shopping last week. There's other reasons why we were in town last week. Not pertinent to this conversation, but maybe one day we'll talk about that. Nothing nefarious, but important nonetheless. I noticed last week when I was there was a greater security presence than there was this past Saturday. Now, if you've spent enough time, and I'm not like some sage, I'm not a guy that knows everything about security companies, but I've been around the block enough to look at security guards and see, I don't even know how to put it. Some provenance, some canter, some background, some ability. Maybe that's the best way to put it. And there's always a few guys that are just there filling a pair of pants and a shirt. Maybe they have some taser training. Maybe they know how to shake a can of pepper spray. I have a feeling by looking at some of these guys, they may not be able to carry a firearm, but they can at least be present and spot a bad guy because maybe they're used to seeing that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Once in a while, you'll see a very competent and confident security guy walking the beat through there. This last Saturday, I didn't see that. Now, I did mention that the sheriff's office is literally on that same street, but that doesn't negate the possibility of something happening. It would only take a matter of a few seconds for somebody to do something terrible with a fairly high tally. I'm trying to be vague for purposes, but I think I know you know what I'm talking about. Now, were there people that had the ability outside of law enforcement, just regular citizens? Did they have the ability to address a situation if it came up? I know at least one of them, one person did, but I'm sure there was other people there as well. And maybe that security staff has had some ability too. So, biggest thing I need you to take away when you go to anything like this, I mentioned Cooper's color codes. In fact, I think I have a short tactical tip is what I called them somewhere in the video verse, unless it got taken down. I don't know. You never know with the tubes. So white is completely oblivious to the world around you. You don't know what's going on. Think of yourself on the cell phone playing, Angry Birds while watching Comedy Central, whatever, right? In your house. Just completely checked out, not paying attention. That is a very dangerous place to be. And you walk through a public place like these farmer markets or the mall or the grocery store, probably 60 to 80%, maybe higher, maybe lower, but probably higher, are living in that white zone. They have no clue of what's going on around them. You've seen them. They're on their phone. They'll bump into somebody else's cart or whatever, step into the fountain. I don't know if you've seen some of those videos of the mall where people walk into the water fountain in the middle of the mall. That stuff happens. Don't be that person. Don't. And then yellow, you have a heightened, the color yellow is this next stage up. You have a little bit heightened sense of the world around you. You're paying attention. You're making eye contact. You're doing your best. You're walking with confidence. You're, like I say, you're looking people in the eye. You're not on your device. You're present, and you're not looking like a victim. That is the key to being in yellow. You're not an easy target because you're paying attention to the world around you. Now, orange is the next level. There is something's up. Something has made you aware. Maybe there's an argument, some loud noises. Something has made you aware of a potential situation, and you've made a plan to either barricade or hide or egress or potentially use force. That's orange. And then red is time to act. You have to do something, whether you're running or whether you are engaging. Red is not the place. We never want to be in red. We never want to put ourselves in a situation where we have to be in the red. That is not a good place to be. So yellow is the key, right? You have a heightened sense of awareness. You're paying attention to the world around you. You're not on a device that distracts you. You're scanning the area. You have a rough idea of exits and places to keep yourself safe or your family safe as well. You need to be in yellow all the time. Kind of like when you're driving. I know a lot of times we get in the car and we're so used to the system of driving. We kind of check out. We get to work like, man, I don't remember even driving here. Yeah, that's like condition white, right? That's bad. But you think of like a new driver or a nervous driver, they're always checking their mirrors, they're paying attention, they're looking at everybody, making sure nobody's in their lane, they're just doing their best to survive on the freeway. That's where we need to be. Not nervous, not scared, not thinking that we're going to be a victim of something all the time, but we're living our lives to where we never have to be in condition red, but always prepared to go from yellow, orange to red, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So when you go to a big place where there's lots of people, again, farmers markets are a ton of fun. My daughter spent way too much of her own money, finally, instead of mine. It's a good time. But if you're there with your family or with yourself, it doesn't matter who, male or female, you need to be paying attention to what's around you, because so easily something could happen. It could be something as simple as somebody stealing a purse or stealing a wallet out of a purse or whatever. You need to be paying attention. That's what I'm getting down to. So farmers market and outdoor expo, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was stupid hot, but it was still a good time. And I made some really good connections at the expo. So hopefully some that lead to some pretty cool tours. I'm talking to you, people I talk to that are watching tours and that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. I love highlighting 2A companies from Idaho because we're one of the greatest 2A states around. All right, let's jump to something else. I didn't see here if I better check this out. Screen share. Oh, good. This will work. I noticed today, as I was just kind of glancing through some show prep, I honestly was going to talk about something else today. But when this popped up, I thought maybe this was a little bit more pertinent. This is, I guess I better. What would a show be without some technical difficulties? And, well, obviously it highlights my skill at knowing my software. Anyways, you can see my mouth, that the words you're hearing right now do not match my mouth on the video. That's because, well, I'm special. And for some reason, I forgot to turn on my mic when I shared the screen. But what I am talking about, you can see the header in this report, is Everytown for Gun Safety Action Fund announces new round of volunteer endorsements backing 44 candidates across 20 states, which is exactly what it sounds like. So when I perused the internets looking for things to complain about, I found this. This was dated the 16th of July of this year. So fairly recent, a few days ago. Basically what it is Everytown is excited to announce that they are endorsing many candidates for many different positions in each one of these states. And I'm going to tell you what these states are. So listen closely. You might need to take some action. Okay, so here they are: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas, and Virginia. So pay attention if you live in one of those states. Some of those states have many of these supported candidates, and some of them are, have only one or two. Nonetheless. And these are anything from county commissioners to city council to state representatives in the House or otherwise, right? So, you better, if you live in those states, it's time to take action. Join one of your local 2A groups in your state, in your city. Be vocal, get involved. You can't afford to let these people take any kind of foothold, no matter where we're at. I will link this article in the show notes so you can read it for yourself. It's nothing fancy. It's an easy read. You just need a little duct tape. You'll be fine. It's silly. It's silly, but we do the same thing, right? We seek out representation that we feel is going to vote the way we want them to vote, which is how the system works. But we just have to be better at the game than those who want to take away your 2A liberties. So get involved. Again, the states that you need to be, if you live in any of these states: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas, and Virginia. Take a peek of who they've got running on ballots and do your best to support candidates who oppose the crap that Everytown wants to impose on us. Okay, I'm not going to read this article like I did originally. You can look up the names yourselves. It'll save you a lot of time, and you won't have to hear me read them. Anyways, I'm going to edit the rest of this out, and we'll keep going. Stay tuned. You're not going anywhere anyways, but you know what I'm trying to say. Okay. Nonetheless, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We need to do better in these states. There was another thing from Everytown. I'm not going to talk about it in this one, but Everytown, the law side of Everytown Law, actually, and Giffords Law, they have partnered up and created this database for lawsuits against, what are they called? Industry defendants. And repeat offenders. Like, they made it sound like, I'm not going to dive too much into this. You're welcome to look at it. If I remember, I'll put this in the show notes. But they've created this online lawsuit data center, which creates or illustrates their framework on how they're doing everything they can to dismantle the firearms industry through litigation. Whether that be suing individual companies, like manufacturers, not for faulty products, but for the misuse of their product, which is asinine. And the Supreme Court and many district courts have already said you can't do that. And in no other product do we do that. We should hold state legislators responsible for laws that go south and people that abuse them, but that will never happen. But they have attacked at every litigious advantage or Access Avenue, whatever you want to call it, they have tried to just pound against these both manufacturers and retailers for the misuse of products. And they hate the Lawful Commerce Act. What's it called? The Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, the PLCAA. They hate that, and they're trying to get that overturned so they can just destroy these gun companies. If they can't attack the Second Amendment as it is, they'll just remove manufacturers that support the ability to exercise that liberty. And they've done a lot. Of course, their website's a little biased in some ways. I think we're all biased in our own ways. But this is just asinine. Like I said, if I remember, I'll put it in there. It's called the, what do they call it? The first of its kind industry accountability litigation tracker. So, and this was posted just 5 days ago on their website. So they're just dandy. What do you do? What do you do? Something else that I try not to post too much negative stuff, but I want to talk about one more thing that actually caught my eye a couple days ago. It says it was updated today. It was published yesterday. So this was from USA Today, and I'm sorry. And what would it be without one more mistake in the show? Anyway, this is a USA Today article talking about the upcoming SCOTUS hearings on the upcoming AR-15 cases. We talked about a little bit ago with Corey on a live. Anyway, these are a big deal, and this article is all about the whining and crying about what's going to happen to the Supreme Court when it looks at these amazing landmark decisions on the AR-15s. Should be good. I'll link this article as well. You can complain about it later. Again, bring duct tape and lots of alcohol. Now, back to the actual show and not my voiceover. As high-capacity magazines, which are, in fact, standard capacity magazines, they go through a bunch of stuff. They look at the Hamani decision when it comes to cannabis and guns. They go through all sorts of stuff. They look at the Bruen case and how detrimental it could be. God forbid we protect rights of U.S. citizens. And it's just this fear-mongering report about all sorts of stuff. And it's so tiresome. I will link this. You can read it yourself. I don't want to spend a lot of time reading this to you guys. Just maybe drink a relaxing beverage, grab some high tensile strength duct tape, and read it with an open mind. Because, yeah, you're going to get frustrated with it. You're going to get absolutely just dumbfounded by the amount of stupidity that's written in that article. Let's see. I think, got dark. Back to bright. Yeah, I think that is, let's see. I'm looking through some of the things I want to share. There were some other things I wanted to share from Everytown, but I don't want to make it too negative because, man, that's just Debbie Downer stuff. No wonder why they drink box wine and sit there and pet their cat. Because, my gosh, their viewpoint of society, of course, is dismal and awful. No wonder why they're always angry and sad and adopt more cats, because that's the only chance they have to create some form of happiness, because that's all they look at. And they're false statistics. Like, man, well, Steve, how can you claim that? You haven't offered any reaction. I have before, a lot. I've talked about how crappy their statistics are before. And there's lots of other channels out there doing the same thing. So, yeah. There was something I was going to share. I had some stuff, and I'm a little confused about this. From this, where I was going to source some infographics from. So, NSSF, great foundation, right? They support the industry. They're the premier industry hub, supporter, information. Like the NSSF does Did I put too many S's in there last time? They do so much stuff for the firearms community. I mean, SHOT Show is put on by them, which is huge. It's the largest of its kind in the industry of a trade show, which is a lot of fun. But anyway, they had some really useful infographics, and I know I closed the window, so I can't pull them up and show you now. But I tried to download them because it says, hey, click here to download. So I hit download all. And then it said, okay, before you can download these, we need to know what you're going to use this for. So they asked for my email address, steve@rangemindedpodcast.com. Cool. And it said, what are you using these for? And I said, media or social media. Social media, because there was no podcast option available. Social media. And I got denied. Like, they said I couldn't download them. Like, and maybe they're just like checking who I am, making sure I'm cool, even though they have all my information from the last time I bought tickets at SHOT Show. I'm a little confused. Like, this information, I should be able to use. It's free. Well, I shouldn't say it's fair use, but you did publish it on your website, and I'm using it for positive purposes. I'm confused. NSSF, I love you guys, but I mean, it's okay if I use the data that you've published, is it not? Like, they're just infographics, and I'm not using them to slander the firearms community. So hopefully they'll let me download them later. I'll try a little bit later. I'm not going to jump on there right now and show them to you, strictly because you're already tired of me. It's been 40-something minutes because I'm not going to do any editing on this one. Let's see. What else do I want to talk? Oh, if you're still here, do you want to know about my life-altering, life-changing, life-threatening experience? More on that in a minute. Let's talk. I'm just kidding. Well, I do want to drink, though. I really have been watching videos about keeping people engaged. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. I need another drink. It's hot in here. Listen, Southeast Idaho has been stupid, overly hot. It usually gets hot, but it's been like 4 weeks of 90s, upper 90s, low hundreds. I've worked in that weather before, but it only lasts for maybe a week. This is ridiculous. And today, I'm assuming it was from the fires in Oregon and Washington, ridiculously smoky. Like, when I can taste the air, that's bad. Mazel tov. Sick. That little bastard crawled in my drink. That son of a bitch. You bastard. You ruined a good drink, you know that? Now I can't drink the rest of my drink. How the hell did he get in my bottle? Well, that was life-threatening and life-changing. Hope I didn't screw up my keyboard by spitting all over it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Son of a bee. I hate you. Dirtbag. Why would you drink my drink? That was my drink, you sucker. Damn it. Anyway, it was an earwig. So gross. Why do I have all these earwigs in my house? If you don't mind, I'm going to tip my keyboard up to try and get it to drain while I tell you my story. That's now more life-threatening. So Adam with Spartan Mode Concepts. Cool guy. I've talked about him before. We've had him on the show multiple times. It's kind of amazing. I haven't thrown up or anything yet. Sticky ass mess. Anyway, he called me the other day and he's like, hey dude, I am going to do a 36-hour fast. And I think you should do it with me. And I said, And he's like, no, dude, for reals. It's going to be good for you. And I had some concerns. If you've been here long enough, you know about my health issues and the struggles I've had in the past with passing out randomly at random times. And I'm also I'm not drunk, but it sounds like it. I'm also hypoglycemic, which is a problem when it comes to not eating for long periods of time. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. And I did it. Now, it wasn't a complete fast, right? Obviously, for 36 hours worth of not eating food, you have to ingest some kind of substance. And that does not include freaking earwigs in my favorite drink. But lots of electrolytes. And I had a couple cups of green tea and water. Probably not enough water, but water. And that's all I did for 36 hours. And I'm not going to lie, that first 24, it was a little rough. It wasn't horrible, but it was a little rough. I got hungry a couple times, but then I just drank some electrolytes and things went okay. Got a little bit of a headache. Man, I got a mess to clean up, son of a bee. I hate you. I'm going to tell you how much I hate you. My favorite drink. Now I just lost a whole bottle. But it wasn't that bad. In fact, I thought about, I stopped this, it's Monday. We started Friday night after dinner and went till Monday morning. And I thought about on Sunday, I was like, man, I could probably make it through Monday, which I probably could have. But I figured, man, I got to go to work. I got to, take care of a few things. So I decided to just do the 36. And I don't feel bad. It was hard to eat breakfast, actually. I had 2 scrambled eggs and a couple pieces of bacon. And it was actually kind of hard to get it down. And lunch was difficult. Dinner, man, I could hardly eat dinner. But I did. And my stomach hurts. It was a beef patty and some homemade mac and cheese, which I know if you're into fasting, it's like, why you shouldn't have had all those carbs, and I shouldn't have. But anyway, that is my life-changing experience. It appears that I'm going to be doing that 36-hour fast more often because Adam wants to do it weekly. And there's some really good benefits. You can look up the benefits of long-term fasting. Kevin James actually has a crazy story about long-term fasting. If you want to, he was on Joe Rogan, talked about that. Check out his interview on that. That's pretty epic, honestly. I'm going to go and clean up this mess and unfortunately dump out a $5 bottle of imported ginger beer and cry and be really disappointed in well, I can't say in myself, but you get the picture. What should I do? Should I drink it? No, I can't drink it now. Anyway, damn it. Bye. I got to clean up this mess before it gets really sticky and gross. Talk to you soon. Oh yeah, stay safe, stay free. No, stay free, oh. Okay, let's try it one more time. Bit flustered. Stay free. Stay safe, and stay range-minded. I'm not editing any of this out. We'll see you guys soon. Adios.